fun game plan for that workshop. And then there will be a second one where the skills are different. You could do both or just one, either the first or the second one. You'll get something out of both of them. But otherwise, let's begin. I hear from you guys like smooth and steady this morning is what you're looking forward to. So come into child's pose. Toes together, knees open. Arms forward, forehead to your mat. And at home, Michelle and Erica, welcome. Stretch your hands a little bit more forward by just tippy-toeing, walking them forward. So you get a tiny little bit of pull or stretch from your hands to your hips. It's the same kind of pull or stretch that we get even in a handstand. And then with your hands, open your fingers wide and connect each one of your fingertips to your mat with a consciousness and a choice. And then begin your breathing. Take a breath to fill up and expand all of your rib cage. Feel how that feels. Find the spaces that are a little tighter. And then exhale, let it all soften. Try that on again. Inhale and feel your body expand. Exhale and feel it soften. Just like that, soft and easy. Your breath is a fire-building breath with the Ujjayi breath, so you can keep dragging it across the back of your throat so that you can be heard and felt through your breathing. And though it is a fire-breathing breath, it doesn't have to be a hard breath. It could be a soft breath that's still very powerful. On your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. And then begin the bending and the straightening of your knees and continue your Ujjayi breathing. Add in your drishti, the place where you just sort of collect your whole field into one spot, all of your attention softly and easily to one spot as a home base or an anchor. Organize your feet so that those are parallel to one another. And that would mean right now that your heels probably get a little wider so you can't see them behind your toes. So try your heels only, Cassie, just a little wider. Yes, feel how it changes your hips. Then take a breath in and let a breath out and move forward to the front of your mat. At the front of the mat, lift up halfway and make a long, flat back. Then exhale, hang down. Fold your arms and begin to sway and be on purpose with your feet. So open them wide and align them so that your heels once again are hiding behind your toes, or the other way to describe it is that they're parallel to the long sides of your mat. Then while you're hanging and allowing your drishti to settle to one spot, I'm sure in your periphery field you can see your toes. Lift all 10 of them into the air and just spread them out. And while they're lifted in the air, imagine from the inside of your big toe back, the arch side of your foot to your inner ankle, there's a sliding back quality. You can even do that with your own hands, sliding back, inner ankles back. Try that maybe 2 or 3 times with your own hands and feel how when you slide back to your inner ankle from the inside of your big toe, there's some kind of quality of a broadening in the back of your pelvis. Then let your toes settle down. Give yourself one more breath to just hang as deeply as you're able to hang, and then press your feet into the ground, come rolling up to standing. Just let the pressing of your feet draw you up tall. Sweep your arms overhead, lift and reach, then gather your hands into prayer position and settle right here. Set your gaze on one still point in the room and select an intention to frame your practice this morning. 3 times we'll chant together. Take a deep breath in. Inhale and reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Strong but soft. Inhale, lift up halfway. High plank to low plank. Use your toes or your knees and keep your chest broad. Then upward facing dog to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Fill up. And empty out. Soft, steady, and smooth. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. 1 more time. Breathe in. On the exhale, prepare to move, then come up to your hands at the front of the mat. Lift halfway and inhale. Fold down and empty. Then start again. Stand up, lift up, reach up, fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. High plank to low plank. Empty your breath. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Good. Now, with a soft breath, that comes a patience with your breath. Doesn't mean sluggish or slow, but a softness. Take your last breath. When you exhale, get ready to move, then come up to the front of your mat. At the front, lift halfway and fold down. Let's go again. Inhale, stand, lift, look, reach, and fold to the floor, empty. Inhale, lift halfway. High plank to low plank, exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Got 3 breaths. Long and steady. Smooth, deep, consistent. 2 more. Stretch your hips back and away from your hands. Here's the last breath. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward with your drishti, and come to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, forward fold. Now we'll move on. Chair pose. Let's begin sun salutation B. Sit right here. Settle into your heels, perhaps by lifting your 10 toes in the air. Maybe open your heels a little wider so your feet are parallel. You got it. Reach up and fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Empty your breath completely. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Warrior 1, arms overhead. Breathe right here. Get settled into your feet. Look for the 4 corners of your feet to be connecting to the mat. The back foot's the tricky one. So press your back heel, the center of it, down into your mat. And then take your legs deep into the lunge and see if you can be aware of a connection from the back, heels, center, all the way up to your fingertips. Deep lunge for the last breath, then bring your hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. The left side is next. Step forward, arms overhead. Smooth, soft movements to connect and mirror your smooth, soft breath. Steady breathing. Back center of the back, heel down. Whole back leg fired up and active. Now you lunge deep. You got it right there. Keep your leg forward and lunge there so your back leg gets activated. Lift up from your back heel to your fingertips and then bring your hands to the floor, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe here. There's something about allowing the practice also to feel really good in your body. 2 more breaths. I think when I'm focused on a smooth and easy breath, that gives a wave or a wash of kindness to my body. At this exhale, get ready to move. Come on up to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, forward fold. Let's flow. Chair pose, sit, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, steady, smooth exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, right foot forward lunge from your feet to your fingers, reach up and fill, and then hands to the floor, push the air out of your body. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Side steps, smooth and steady from your heels to your fingertips, reach up, hands to the floor, chaturanga, empty your breath. Up dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Now check out how it is in your body right now and see if there's an opportunity to open the base of the pose a little longer or a little wider. Then stretch your hips up and back out of your hands. Take 1 more breath, prepare to move, and then come to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, forward fold, last round, chair pose, sit and reach. Fold to the floor. Half lift, chaturanga. Up dog, down dog, right side, step and lunge, warrior one, inhale. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, empty. Up dog, down dog, left side step, lunge, press your feet, reach your fingers, hands down, broad chest, chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog, keep your breath flowing and raise your right leg into the air. Bend your knee, heel to your hip. Turn your hips open. Take a breath in and flip it over on your exhale. 2 steady feet reach up and overhead. Let your feet have a feeling of sinking down into the ground and hugging in toward one another while you take the reach. One more breath. Side plank, right hand on the mat, face the long left side of the mat, stack your body up. For many of us, what could still happen is from the center of our chest out to our shoulder heads, we could be more broad from the center of the chest to the shoulder heads. And that could happen by sinking your thoracic spine into your chest and stacking your arms one on top of the other. One more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left leg in the air, bend your knee, keep your breath flowing, and flip the pose over, 2 feet on the floor. Steady breathing, reach up and overhead. I've come to love how this pose allows for all kinds of new space between each one of my ribs. More and more, I'm finding awakening up in little nooks and crannies between my ribs that I didn't even know weren't awake. One more breath. Side plank, left hand down, face the long right side of your mat. See if you can become aware from the center of the chest, out through the shoulder heads, down through the elbows to the fingertips, broadening and stacking. Another breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. Steady breathing, set your drishti and just let your eyes see what they see for a moment, get settled in their new spot, then reach up for the ceiling. Take your drishti up to the ceiling and start to move it back the rows of the beams on the ceiling. At home, if your ceiling's just plain and white, use your felt sense or your inner looking to find your way up and back. One more breath, then hands to prayer and twist. Bring your left elbow to your right thigh. And once it's settled there, take your whole body from heel to crown and stretch it long. So that would feel like pressing the center of your back heel back while the crown of your head reaches forward. And then all of the points in between, long and lean, take another inhale, another exhale, crescent lunge, warrior two. Drishti settled on one still point across the room from you. Deep, deep lunge. Longer your legs are, take up more length and space on your mat. That's it. Now, Caitlin, get the rest of the length by moving your back heel out. Just your heel, not your toes. That's it. You may feel this need to kind of hug in with your legs so your feet don't slide out away from you in this pose. Take a deep lunge so that you feel from the groin through the front inner thigh to the knee, a lengthening, then tilt for extended side angle. Your arm reaching to the floor can help press your front knee back toward its baby toe. You'll then get to continue feeling an deepening, lengthening feeling in your front leg's inner thigh. If you're not feeling that, what can you do to adjust the pose to locate that sensation? Take one more breath. Then hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot forward, crescent lunge step. Bring your drishti up, set it. See what's in front of you where your drishti is settled and let your arm or your body form itself around that. Then reach for the ceiling, look to the ceiling, stretch up and back. Yes, so it feels good in your body. I can see that for some of you. It must feel good. Reach up and back, then hands to prayer and twist right elbow, to your left knee. Press against your knee. From your heel, pressing back, up through your body to the center of your chest, reaching forward. Let that line just dive through your body and get long. 3 breaths. On an inhale, your next inhale, body long. When you exhale, twist it more. Do that 2 more times. Use the exhale to wring your body out. And then you've got the last one. Finish the whole thing. Crescent lunge. Set your drishti. Settle it there. Keep it there. Open your body up while your drishti stays. Did anybody keep their drishti? Warrior 2. That's tricky. We have just a default checkout that happens right there. Just a little spot where you can train something new. Deep lunge. When I look around the room at a lot of your back feet, they are kind of drifting a little toes back. Put your big toe on the ground, pick up your heel, and swing your heel out so you see your foot is more angled inward. And then see how the lunge feels. Tilt for extended side angle. Reach for the floor, reach for the ceiling. That's it. Little more length of your front inner thigh. 3 breaths. Janet, try a deeper lunge and bring your left hip under your body as you lunge, lengthening your inner thigh. Last breath, high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. In your down dog, fill your lungs with breath, open up your mouth and let it come out. One more time. This time we'll move. On the exhale, bend your knees, come on up to your hands. Keep your breath flowing, halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose, hands to prayer, twist toward the right. Bring your left elbow between your knees or outside of your right knee and sit your hips back. Instead of sitting them under you, sit them back like they're sitting to touch and settle on the wall behind you. Once you have that in your imagination that your hips are settled on the wall behind you, you can lengthen both sides of your body and twist. So we'll take 3 breaths. Hips back, long spine, and twist. Bend your right knee a little more, Jackie. Yeah, so they both bend evenly. Yeah. One more breath. Twist, then reach up for the chair and forward fold and hook your big toes and stretch down. Have a look at your foundation, your feet. It's time for a check-in there. If you're looking down and your toes are physically turned out, make your feet parallel to the long sides of your mat. And then if there's still just a little bit, all the weight's out in your baby toe, press the knuckle of your big toe down while you stretch your chest through to the floor. You will have an opportunity when you organize your feet that way to feel the back of your pelvis and your sitting bones go more broad. Now, while you're hanging here, shake out your shoulders and your head and just let your body go. Let gravity drag your body down long in that soft way that your muscles aren't pushing and forcing it, but you're allowing for it to happen. And then keep your breath flowing and put your attention on how does it feel in your back, especially the middle, the bottom of your rib cage, while you hang here and you breathe. I oftentimes think if I could use my imagination and just watch as I breathe, watch how my whole body expands and then softens, I find I'm able to discover more openings and healing spaces between each rib cage, each rib in the rib cage. Okay, let's take the other chair twist. Sit back into your heels. You want to keep both knees evenly bending and both hips reaching back. So when you start to turn, it's common for one leg to start straightening and then the hips from the top, they're tilted. Keep them level. So Shannon, bend your left knee more. Yep, left knee. Yes. And reach your sitting bones back. Yes. Chest forward toward Connor there. Yes. Just like that. Now 3 breaths. Body long. And exhale, twist. Let this soften. Body long. Exhale, twist. Let go a little bit. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Reach for the chair. Forward fold. Gorilla pose. Palms under the soles of your feet. Check here too. If your heels are in between your feet a little bit, just open only your heels a little wider. Keep going a little wider with those. There you go. That probably targets you right into the center of your hamstrings. It's my guess. Head hanging. Hair on your head hanging. One more breath here. We'll take crow pose. You could take the goddess squat as well. Set your hands into the handstand hands. Knees outside of your armpits. Feet and toes active. Tilt and squeeze the floor. Then strong breaths. Ready? Inhale. When you exhale, press the floor. Lift your core. Breath in. You might be pressing elbows against knees and knees against elbows. Here's the last one. From here, move to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Stretch out in your downward facing dog and take a moment to scan through your body and feel how it feels for you. Can you notice the work you've accomplished? Identify work you'd still like to accomplish. Spaces that perhaps seem not yet awake and alive. Take another breath, prepare to move, then come up to the front of your mat. Half lift at the front of your mat and forward fold. Take your time, roll up to standing and sweep your arms overhead. Then right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left, squat, right leg over your left leg and keep your breath steady. Sit deep with your hips so you can really hug your legs. Then stand tall in your spine as though the back of your head, shoulders, ribs, pelvis are all evenly leaning against a straight wall behind you. Next breath, step out of this and take the other side. Keep your breath flowing as you make the transition. Keep your breath flowing. Smooth, deep, and consistent and soft. Listen for the breath in the room. If you don't hear or notice any breathing, whether it's that you can hear it here or at home, or you have to just imagine it, bring breathing into your space. We'll do a second set. Step out on your next breath. Right arm under, right leg over. Right arm under, right leg over. The pit of your belly is a key spot to draw in right here. It seems like you don't really need it, but that puts you in your lower back. Draw the pit of your belly in as you sit more deeply. Then step out. Left side, left arm under, left leg over. Steady breathing. Move your arm bones straight back. They get pulled forward, and we get this chance to feel the doming upper back, and that's amazing. And then can you also pull your arm bones straight back? You'll feel your thoracic spine, the part between your shoulder blades, melt forward into your chest. Step out, arms overhead, hug your right knee into your chest. Maybe pick up a strap and use the strap around your right foot so that you have access to extending your knee. Got a couple of extra straps if anybody would like one. Here you go. Want to take one, Raj? Yeah. Do you want one, Caitlin? Okay. Hold on to your foot and extend your knee. You keep the strap pretty short. There'll be a bit of a pulling forward of your arms and a stretching of your upper back as you breathe. Eyes on your spot. Make the straps as short as you can and straighten your knee if you're able. There you go. Steady breathing. You got it. When you're ready, you can open your leg to the right, look and reach to the left. Bring your breathing. Steady breathing. One more. Leg forward, drop the strap, hug your knee into your chest, and then open up to airplane. If you'd like, you can bind your hands behind your back, either by holding hands or holding onto your strap, and then stretch into the airplane pose. Bring breath. Set your drishti. And then just imagine your standing heel, that it's pressing into your mat, and your reaching heel, that it is pressing into the wall behind you. So press the center of each heel down. Particularly the back one. When you have a sense of pressing it, does your whole body get lean, long, strong? Hands to prayer. Half moon. Left arm down, right arm up. Good back heel there, Caitlin. It's nice and active. Lift your back leg. So wiggle the toes of your lifted leg so you have a sense of where your foot is in the space. And lift the edge of your ankle up to the ceiling. You can just press it up. Long, straight leg, like your heels pressing into the wall behind you. Press it. Yeah, that's it, Cassie. Look up and reach up. Whole body open here. Press your leg long and straight. One more breath. Forward fold and hang. Sway from side to side. If you'll be using your strap, pick your strap up and come up to standing and hug your left knee and chest. Stand tall. Once you get your knee snuggled in, maybe take a peek at your standing foot. Oftentimes we look back down and our foot is turned all the way out again. Now, it may not be that today it's going to be completely parallel to the side, but you could maybe split the difference. Start working it toward being parallel and see what the cost is in your body. When you change it, what do you have to give up? And then if you can, what do you gain? What you'll end up with is when your toe points forward, your knee points forward, and your leg is standing balanced in your body. But it might not be used to that. So it takes developing your inner thigh strength to balance out how strong your quads and your glutes are. You can open your leg to the left and look and reach to the right. See if you can settle as you're standing here into your standing heel, that it could be an anchor point for you, while opposite, the crown of your head is reaching to the ceiling. Your shoulders then might get a chance to relax and soften there. Bring your leg forward, hug your knee into your chest, take the airplane pose next. A strap to bind your hands or bind them together or use the airplane arms. Kicking heel like it's pressing into the back wall. Standing heel, let it press and sink into the floor. And when you do that, let all the joints of your knee, your toes, your ankle, let them all be fluid, more soft, less fixed. Hands to prayer, half moon. So now right arm down, left arm in the air. You're welcome to put your hand on a block. You're welcome to stack your blocks up and have them double thick. Reach. Reach in such a way that your arms are stacked. Right here, let me straighten this a little bit. There, stacked arms. See what that feels like. Just might be a little different than what you're used to. One more breath. Forward fold and hang. Sway. Sway from side to side. Bring yourself up to standing. We have 2 sets of a standing back bend. We'll start with standing bow first, and then we'll take dancer's pose. So right arm back until the whole inner side of your arm, armpit to hand, are open to the side. From there, bend your knee, reach back and hold your ankle. Left arm in the air. Drive your kicking knee straight back. When you're kicking your leg straight back, reach with your reaching arm until from fingertips through chest to fingertips, there's a long line that has some tension on it. Fingertips through fingertips, a long line with some tension. Then breathe 3 breaths here. As you breathe, let your whole outline of skin expand and soften. Take the last one and step out. You can just windmill your arms around. And then the outer arm, or the inner arm facing outside, bend your knee, hold your ankle. Start with your knees together. Drive your leg straight back. You got it there, Cassie. Oh, see how when you just shifted your weight? Look at your foot now. That weight shift is your body just being like, no. You had it nice and parallel there, but you're getting it. Big toe. Press your big toe. Yes, that's it. Yep, you got it. Press the knuckle of your big toe down, the kicking big toe up like it's standing on the ceiling. Kick, Shannon. You've just lost your kick a little bit. Step on out. Now the next one, we'll shift our gear into dancer's pose, or you could choose to take the standing bow again. Most of you need a strap for this. I'll grab a couple more in a second. I see I need 2 more. It looks like this. You bend your back knee and flex, thanks Connor, flex your foot so you have a hook to hold the strap. And then you'll take your arms and kind of roll the eye of your elbow forward. Kick a little bit until you can slide just a little bit on the strap and get your elbows to your hips. That's the weird part. Your arms will have this look of being a W. You want the strap as short as you can manage here. Then take your elbows out to the corners of the room, and then maybe bring your hands together, kick back and kick up. Here, Cassie. There's something more for your shoulders in this back bend. So once you have that, turn your palms forward, bring your elbows to your waist. You'll kick a little bit to get the space for that. You might have to slide the strap a little bit. Then elbows out to the corner of the room, bring them forward. Bring your elbows forward and up. Yes, hands together. No more lengthening the strap right there. Stay with your eyes on one spot. You have it. Hold it there. Eyes on one spot. Kick and reach. Breathe here for 3 breaths. Shannon, drive your hands up to the ceiling now. Press your hands up to the ceiling, kick up, and step out. Nice. Was that the first time some of you have tried the pose that way? It looked like it. Okay, let's do the left side. So bend your knee, hold the strap. You need a flexed ankle to have a hook. Once you're here, turn your palms to face forward. Let the strap slide as minimally as possible as you bring your elbows to your wrist. Keep your gaze on one spot. Then bring your elbows to the corners of the room. You'll kick a little more. And then bring your hands together, your kick and tilt, and maybe drive your hands up to the ceiling. Someday you hold your foot here. Someday you kick your back legs almost to straight in a split like you're an ice skater. They even spin in this pose. One more breath and come on out. Now you do this pose in some variation most classes, but here today you got this opening of the shoulders and chest by doing this arm rotation. We'll be able to do that later on the floor bow, so don't let your strap get too far away. All right, last thing is tree pose in this standing position. This one for sure, line your heel up behind your middle toe. There's less at stake in the balance here, so this is one where you could practice that alignment. Sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh and press your together. Put some pressure in the knuckle of your standing big toe so that your standing knee has a micro bend, a softness. The joint has access to a fluid quality rather than a fixed quality. That might be weird for you. It might not be the way you usually stand. So don't worry if you fall out. If you're trying something new, those are the early stages of learning something different. Switch sides. Right foot down and left foot up. Palms together, steady breathing. Draw in the pit of your belly and lift it up. That's it, Caitlin. Just saw that change. That's exactly it. Eyes on your spot. Listen to your breath. As soon as my mind starts thinking like, oh, I'm balancing, done. It's just done. I've at least learned to catch myself when I'm wiggling and go straight to listening to my breathing and clear myself. And that actually is turning out to be an incredible life tool to be able to discover myself going into like an anxious state and clear it back down to a calm state. Step to the front of your mat. At the front, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. High plank to low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward into the triangle pose. Keep your breath flowing and steady. Make your stride long rather than cautious and short. And explore the 4 corners of your feet and how keeping them connected to the floor changes the impact of the pose. If you find that your joints have become hypermobile, or they always were, keep them very soft. Be conscious of keeping them soft. Your toes, your ankles, your knees, your hips, the joints of your spine. Take one more breath. Come up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat. Feet parallel, without exception, to the short sides of your mat. Hands on your hips and chest up high, then forward fold all the way down. Double check your feet. Feet are so sneaky. Soon as we turn our attention away from them, they're just doing their own thing again. Walk your hands. Today, let's walk them behind you, maybe. Through your feet, tippy toe them as far back as they'll go, and then just stretch. Breathe. Lengthen. This is a transition point when we come to this grounding part of the sequence. Some would say you've finished the warm-up and we just begin the practice. Keep your attention on your breathing and your drishti. And then just be watching for where there are now new opportunities in your body. Take another breath. And come up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Standing, single leg, forward fold with namaste, prayer hands. So legs long, hands in prayer position behind your back. Watch the default of taking a short stance where you're now bowing at the waist. Rather keep it long and steer the pose from the four corners of your feet. I like the prayer hands. They're challenging. They're stretching the outside of my forearm, which is necessary for the back bends to come. But I also like how it reminds me about my core strength, the pit of my belly. If you don't really feel your bottom rib, I know, it's weird, huh? If you don't really feel your bottom ribs pressing into your pinkies, then gather your bottom rib cage in so that you feel the back bottom ribs pressing into your pinkies. See if you can feel that little tiny bit of difference of organizing this bowl of your thoracic body. Twisting triangles next. You could keep your prayer hands for this. Twist into the front leg. You could keep your prayer hands and just twist long body into the front leg and see what's new there. If you do keep the prayer hands, then keep your rib cage pressing into your pinkies while you take the twist. Turn toward Caitlin, Raj. Yeah, twist in. So put this hand down and turn toward Caitlin. That's it. One more breath. Then bring your hands to the floor and step into downward facing dog. Left foot then forward for triangle pose once you get to your down dog and have a chance to settle and stretch there. Keep your breath flowing. Triangle pose. So hand to the floor behind your front foot and take a long, long stride. Take your back foot back a little bit more, Jackie. Yeah, and angle your back toes inward. That's it. Now give that a try and see what you can find in your body. What I see to do is to keep working to wrap the thigh out like that. Your knee now will point with your toes. You feel your leg is like, whoa, that's new. Whenever your muscles do a little bit of a tremble, it's just new energy coming into them. That isn't them about to be hurt. That's just your muscles accepting new energy. This goes here as you pull the pit of your belly in. Whoops, losing you a little bit. So it's pit of the belly in there. Feel how that feels. Take one more breath. Cassie, can you wrap your top shoulder open a little bit more here? Yes, one more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Hands bound with the strap. That's good with a strap because you do all here in the room at least have one. It'll set your hands a little wider. You'll discover a slightly different spot in the head of your shoulders and forward fold all the way through. Forward fold. Connor, you can let go of that and walk your hands through your feet. I'll take this. Walk your hands through your feet. Keep them walking. And then you can reach your hands through here, outside here, until the backs of your hands are on your low back. I'll take this for a second, just in case you don't quite make your hands to your back. They come through as far. It's a guillotine pose. Have you ever done this? Okay, take that strap right there in that hand. Take it right there in that hand. There you go. It's a lot of lower back opening. Yep. You'll have to just let go. Ease is the only thing that'll take you deeper. In time, your leg will be more like here. In the pose, take one more breath in. One more sigh out. Come on up to standing. Keep or drop the strap. Depends on what you're going to do with your standing single leg forward fold. So left leg forward now. Hands in prayer position behind your back. To get them up there, you may have to decompose. Crowd your shoulders forward. But once you get your hands together and split up your back, open your shoulders more broadly and then fold. Yep. So use the pressure of your pinkies into your back. Let me take these for a second and show you something. There you go. You'll just work with that as it comes. Keep on breathing. Where in your body does breath make a difference right now? These go like that. Couple more breaths. You could keep the prayer hands, ribs into your fingertips, twisting triangle. You'll turn toward your left leg. You could keep the prayer hands or drop into the open arms. Good. As you take your twisting triangle, keep dragging your left hip back and open up your chest. Good. Let me take this a second. 3 breaths. That hurt your shoulder? Relax. 2 more breaths. Last breath. There's the spot. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Come to a high plank and lower all of the way down to your belly on your mat. Once you get onto your belly, turn your toes under like they were in the push-up and activate your legs. Imagine your heels are pressing into the wall behind you. Then hands together behind your back or use the strap and press your bound hands down towards your heels. Lift your chest up. You got it. So heels press back like mine are pressing down. So the whole side of the body gets long all the way up through to the armpits. You could even lift your gaze, maybe your chin, and breathe for 3 more breaths. That's it. Strong feet, just like that. 2 more breaths. Heels back and come on down. Wave your hips from side to side. We'll take floor bow next. Bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles from the outside, palms face in. Knees only hip width distance. Then press back into your feet and up. First set, kick back and kick up. That's it, knees only hip width distance. Maybe a sigh. 1 more breath. Come down. Pick up your strap. I told you that the standing bow use of the strap will be the similar use to the floor bow. Once you're on your belly with the strap behind you, bend your knees and keep your ankles flexed. You won't want your strap curled up and crumpled or the buckle on your ankles. You want to have the strap nice and flat so it's not digging into your skin. Then strap short, ankles flexed. Turn your palms to face out. So you just reach back and grab it, then turn your palms to face out. Kick up a little bit. You might need to slide on the strap to bring your elbows to your waist. So you have the W shape that you felt when we were standing. Then from here, bring your elbows forward and out to the sides of the room while you kick up. Try not to let your knees flare wide. Good. The act of bringing your elbows around and forward is a really nice opening for your shoulders. Hands perhaps together. Then drive your hands straight up to the ceiling by relaxing your upper back. Relaxing your upper back and drive up. 1 more breath. Come on down. Very good work. Feet side to side. Upward facing dog comes next. Downward facing dog. We'll take camel pose. Kneel down, toes turned under. And if you've got a block, I'll try to bring a couple around. Hopefully you have some at home. If you've got a block, hug a block between your knees. And I'd say in the medium setting. I think if it's in the narrow setting, it won't be quite enough information. So the medium setting. Toes turned under, got a good grip on the floor. And then when you take Debbie's class on Sunday, she has you put your palm on the center of your chest and lift your chest up into it. Then you can take the back of your hand right at your sacrum. So it's right at the top of the seam of yoga pants, or top of the crack is another description, and just push in and down a little bit. So it lifts the front of your pelvis. Now you lift your chest up into your hand and let this keep pressing down, this back hand, so that you can feel from these 2 points a connection. When you have that connection, squeeze into the block with your thighs and lean back a little bit. Keep lifting into your hand at the chest, then squeeze into the block to bring yourself back up. Your body from your knees to the crown of your head should stay long. Squeeze the block as the source of bringing yourself up. Do that 3 more times. The block squeezing to keep yourself tempered and level. Now squeeze the block for the force to bring you up. Different from taking ourselves to back bend and up. We're just hinging from knees to crown of the head. Lift the pit of your belly by dropping pressure into the back hand. Come on up. Really good work. Hands to the floor, downward dog. How'd that feel? Could you feel how your core, the bottom and the basement of it was working there? Okay, move through your hands, sit down and roll onto your back. We'll take our first bridge pose. In your bridge pose, press down and rise up. You could have your medium block between your thighs, much like we had it in camel pose. Camel pose is the same exact shape as this pose. Once you get into your bridge, organize your feet so that you feel as though they're parallel to the long sides of your mat. For most people, that means moving just your heels a little wider. Then lift all 10 of your toes and spread your 10 toes. Keep them like that in the air. While you continue to hold this pose, imagine you're dragging your heels back to your hips. Where do you feel a new fire in your body? Breathe with that for 3 more breaths. I typically feel a fire then in the backs of my thighs, my hips, the whole back side of my body feels lit up in a new way. What do you feel? Come on down when you're complete with the last breath, knees side to side. We'll take a second set of bridge pose. So press down and rise up. When you get up into this bridge pose, rock your weight from side to side and tuck your shoulders more deeply under your body. Once you get that, interlace your hands and press your elbows straight. You might use a strap if it just doesn't feel like you can press your elbows straight. Breathe and let your chest broaden more. So hands interlaced behind your back or using a strap and pressing arms long. You'll feel more opening in your chest. You'll feel your arm bones sink onto your back. 2 more breaths. Expand your chest as you breathe and your upper back. You've got 1 more. After this last one, you can come down. Once you're down, knees side to side. We'll move from bridge into wheel. We'll take 3 of these. So get it set up, press down, rise up into the bridge, hands set, press your arms straight into the wheel. The key here is to set your hands really wide. To play with the angle of where your fingertips are pointing if you have discomfort in your wrist. For me, I have to point them straight toward my heels. I can't turn them out at all. And then come on down, knees side to side. Let's do the second of 3. Get it ready. Press down, rise up. Press down, rise up, heels wide. Heels wide. That's it. Now that you made your heels wider, can you have ease in the joints of your toes, your ankles, your knees, your hips, all the way through your spine to the tears on the top of your head? And come on down. Once you're on your back, knees side to side. We'll take the last one now. Get it set up with all the things you know to do for you today. Bridge or wheel, up you go. All the way up. Now we're going to take 8 breaths here. You count them out. In the 8 breaths, keep pulling things away, letting go. What can I let go of? Attitude, gripping, where my weight is distributed. What can you keep letting go of till you get to a place on the last couple breaths of ease and softness? Ease and softness. And when you finish your 8th breath, come down to Supta Baddha Konasana, where your soles are together, your knees are open. Maybe you close your eyes and for the first time, let your drishti just go inward and be completely overwhelmed by the marvel of what is going on inside. Spaces that are newly alive and open. Spaces that are newly soft and strong and easeful and all of that. Places where there is well-being where maybe there wasn't before. And then what there is still to work with. The igniting sequence is meant to create a mass of opening. The stability sequence is meant to create a container around that, where it's a level of opening that you can walk out into the world off of your mat with. So we create that container with a stability sequence. Let's start with dead bug pose. Hug your knees into your chest, hold the outer edges of your feet, and pull your knees back to your shoulders. Rock from side to side. Side to side. Then legs straight up in the air. Turn your feet so that they're parallel to one another. They look like they're standing on the ceiling, fingertips behind your ears, and just curl up. Stay curled up with the pit of your belly sinking. We'll take scissor legs. Lower your right leg as straight or as low as suits to keep your whole lower back on the ground. Then switch your legs. And while you switch back and forth, feet alive. As you're switching back and forth from hip to hip and rib to rib, imagine it as a box. Can that box stay each side equal to itself, equal to its reflected side, while you raise and lower legs? So it's not one side collapsing, then the other side collapsing. That takes a little bit of stability. Finish up with your last few passes until you have an even work on both sides, then hug your knees into your chest. We'll do the leg lowers, so hands under your hips, or curl up and just reach your arms with your palms facing in so you have a sense of collecting to your center line. Legs straight up in the air, so maybe you're like this. And then active. You could even be hugging your block. Take a breath in, lower your legs a little bit. Resist the toes out. Breath in, lower a little bit more. Keep your lower back broad. One more time, lower. You want to feel your bottom rib still on the ground. Breathe in. Exhale, legs back up. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, heels wide, lower. In, heels a little wider, lower. Maybe you're low enough. That's fine if you are. Lower a little bit more. Hover. Is your bottom rib still on the ground? Legs back up. 1 more time. Breathe in, lower. You can use soft knees if you'd like. Breathe in, lower. If now you've started to arch a little bit, you're too low, soften your knees. Bring your rib down. Lower a little more. Hold it. Breathe. Bottom rib down. Sink your bottom rib. Legs back up. Hug your knees into your chest. Shins parallel to the floor, fingertips behind your ears, bicycles. Right elbow, left knee with a straight right leg, and switch. Back and forth, switching. Back and forth. 10, 9. Keep the box even on both sides as you rotate side to side. That's the tricky part. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch your whole body out long. Then hug your knees into your chest and rock head to tail several times. All the way up into the boat pose. You don't have to straighten your legs in boat pose. You don't even have to let go of your legs. Sit up tall. So at first, when we're sitting here, we have this long, tall body. But if we want to go to low boat, we're not going to be able to use the long, tall body because we're going to crash down. So when we go to low boat, you pull the pit of your belly in. You can even keep your toes on the ground if you want, like mine. Your hands go on the back of your thighs and you pull your belly in. So there's no part where you crash down. To come back up, inhale, squeeze your thighs together, and exhale all the way up. If I squeeze a block and I keep my heels on the ground, I have better control here. Breathe in, roll down. If you even turn your toes out at all, you're not going to make it. Breathe in, pull your belly back, roll up. Try it one more time. Heels wide, pull your belly back, roll down, and roll back up. Hug your knees, rock 3 times. Through downward facing dog, and we'll take right side pigeon. That rolling is pretty tricky, seems so simple. But if the toes turn out at all, then the glutes activate. Instead of being soft and wide, there's no room for the spine to work in between. You end up clumping down like a whole, you've probably felt that, a whole chunk of body just plop down at once. In your pigeon poses, however it's expressing today, keep your ankles active. If you would like, you can take the back leg, hold on to your ankle, and bring it folded forward with you. Gives you a more intense hip flexor and quad stretch. And bring some breathing. So Caitlin, when you get that foot, square your hips up now again. Yeah. So you got your foot. So now this. There. Now those are your quads. Feel the stretch in your thigh. But when it's over here, it's not happening. Switch sides. Left leg forward. Double check the alignment, some of you on your left thigh. From knee to hip of the left thigh. that piece of your body, it should be parallel to the left long side of your mat. That's the most common default in this pose. Bring your breathing. We'll take double pigeon next. Sit on your left hip. Swing your right leg around so you're sitting on both hips. For many people, sitting up on a block, a thinner block, would be a good place to be here. We're looking to stack your shins one on top of the other, and yet that's not possible for lots of bodies. Ankles hanging off the side, feet flexed, maybe even leaning forward. But for some, bottom heel in a little bit more, leaning forward. For others, foot on the ground, heel in the air, what suits your body. Still others, this number 4 shape is the best pose for you. Whenever there's a knee hanging in the air, like this bottom knee that's getting pressure from the top leg, it could be a very nice place to stick a block for support. Whichever version you're in, we'd like it to be that from your sitting bones to the crown of your head, you're long and tall, different from rounded like in a ragdoll pose. So long and tall wherever you are. Long and tall hinging works. You can switch sides. Now the right leg can be the bottom or opposite of whatever you just did. Left leg on top. It can be helpful to put your hands on the floor beside your hips and just pick your hips up and move them back a little bit more, especially as your body starts shaping itself into the pose and relaxing a little bit. Every now and then you might just want to check and see if there's a little more room to move your hips back. Any downward facing pressure, best not to land your hands on your knees, but more back here. This is the joint we're working, not this one. So we want to open it back here. I see a lot of you are just naturally doing both thighs, and that's a really great adjustment you can give yourself too, rolling out and pressing down. Come on up. Take a seated wide leg forward fold. So open your feet really wide so your toes and knees point to the ceiling. It is possible to sit on something so your hips are elevated or to put things under your knees to soften them. Take them as wide as they go, toes point straight up, and then we're looking to sit tall in our back here and hinge forward. So if the feeling is that you can't sit up tall, a thinner block is a good tool to just let you get up and out of your hamstrings a little bit more. I'm going to give you this thinner one, Cassie. Try this out and see if it lets you sit on your sitting bones. Bum up, and I'll slide it under. A little higher. There you go. Stuck on your yoga towel. If you feel any pressure, those of you that are elevated on the backs of your knees, let me know, and we'll just slip blocks under your knee backs. Karmasana poses are the same as the guillotine in time. Your hands could be bound at your lower back too. I know, it's a little bit much. And it's not necessarily worth going for. It does make an amazing lower back opening, but not always worth it. You can get stuck there. Okay, come on up, seated single leg extension. So just keep your right leg long, bend your left leg, sole of your foot to your right inner thigh, and fold over your long leg. You can reach for the baby toe and draw your baby toe and that outside ankle into a softness. Your baby toe, as a result, would come back toward your face. Can't quite reach your foot, you can always lasso it with a strap. There you go. I tend to like it if I'm using the strap to have it around the ball of my foot because that's what gives me the access to my outside ankle. You can switch sides. Long left leg, bend your right leg. Hinge forward. Now draw your baby toe back toward your face, Jackie. You're right there. Just like this. Like your foot is standing on a wall. Feel that in your hamstrings more? If it's too much, you can soften your knee. Looks like you're pretty good there. Sometimes to soften your knee, a small hand towel rolled up is enough. A block is too much, and that looks like it'd be the case for you. Come on up, 2 legs straight in front of you, seated, forward fold. Once you get hold of your feet, whether it's with a strap, Raj, use your strap around the ball of your feet or with your hands. Yep, like this. There you go. Oh, you got your toes. Let your feet flex. That's it, Janet. Use the strap. That's it. Right up here. And it'll do that. Peel them open. You can rock your weight from hip to hip. And as you're doing that, walk your hips back a little more. Come on up, release your feet, hug your block between your ankles, near your, right above your ankles at your shins. Point your toes to the floor. You might want your block more medium, little something more to grip onto. Lean back, hands on the floor, pointing toward your hips, shoulders back, reverse plank pose. Turn your fingertips toward me, Raj, and feel like, yeah. It'll be the awkward setup for your hands. Press down and rise up. We're trying it with straight legs. You can do it with bent legs. If that's the better version for you, bend your legs. Jackie's like, I don't even know how you people got up with straight legs. It is a challenge. Sit down, roll onto your back, bend your knees like you do for bridge pose. Lift your hips in the air and rock your shoulders under your body and hold your hands together. You could use a strap. Then sit on your forearms. Once you're sitting on your forearms, legs could be anywhere, but just keep them active. Don't just let them go asleep. Once you're sitting on your forearms, you can open your hands that are bound and put your palms on the floor. I'm going to go with straight active legs. So it's a fish pose, but just a modified one. When you are able, there are several yoga poses that'll put pressure in your joints of your wrists and forearms and like this. And that has from the things like typing or small handwork. So just and then feet on the floor, lift your hips and remove your arms. You can feel all the fluids rushing back into your joints. Maybe move your hands from side to side. And then from here, roll your feet overhead to plow pose. You can lie flat on your back with your legs straight up in the air for waterfall pose, if that's the better choice for you today. If you were choosing waterfall, I would recommend a block placed long so that there's room for each hip on it. And then whichever one you're choosing, give yourself a few breaths to build the pose. To get the foundation set, to get to a place where you feel pretty secure, that you've got a drishti that you've softened onto rather than locked into. And your breath is flowing. You can hear it moving in and out of your body, soft, steady, calm, deep. And that your body just finds a place to be still. Not forced, not locked into stillness, but settled into it. Just give yourself the permission to be here and breathe. Every now and then you might allow for a sigh. Feet, keep them active, but a soft quality. Move these right over top is there. Bring them right over top of your hips for this pose. Yeah, so that the weight is just pressing down to the back of your pelvis and broadening it. If you're in the shoulder stand, come into plow. And then for everyone who's in plow, bring your knees beside your temples, to the top of your head, beside your ears. The pose is called Karnapadasana. And then come rolling out onto your long, flat back. So I like to keep my feet overhead as long as I can and feel like I'm stretching my spine out and placing a bone down until it's as long as it can be on the mat. Once you're there, hug your knees into your chest. You can drop your knees to the left and look to the right. Keep this soft. I oftentimes will use my block for my knees to land on or between my knees. There's a little more support. When you get into your simple twist, take a breath and have a sigh, and use the sigh to just let go as a vehicle for letting go. Then switch sides. And here you can let go. Back to the center for Supta Baddha Konasana. Let your whole body settle into place here. Do any reorganization of your bones to let yourself feel supported. Once you feel like you've achieved that, then legs out long and wide for Shavasana. In studio, there's a cold eye towel. Often at home, it is already cool. Pull a blanket over your body if it's cool in your space. And then Shavasana, arms long and wide, feet wide. Hopefully bones organized so that you feel supported. If not, you can always change them. Then take a deep breath in. Exhale through your mouth and let go. A mantra can be a really powerful practice. A very simple one you could practice right now is when you inhale in your mind to form the word let, and when you exhale, go. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Soft breath. Here's a reading called Find Healing and Magic Within Yourself. She was an Osage shaman, and her land next to Cathedral Rock in Sedona, Arizona, was landscaped with a totem pole, a fire pit, a bridge leading to her house, and gardens of flowers and rocks. A river ran across her property, singing to all who quieted themselves enough to listen. A teepee stood close by, one used to house the sweat lodge ceremonies. It was during one such ceremony I had met her. I returned later to talk with her for a while, and she welcomed me back, welcomed all who had visited her land to return. She didn't call it her land, she called it the land. She said it belonged to all of us. You don't have to take this journey, she said. You don't have to travel around searching for spiritual spots. All of the wisdom, the experiences, the spiritual places you seek on this quest are within you. While it's fun to go on a trip, and trips often coincide with going to new places in our personal lives, we don't have to load up the car and hit the road to find out what we're looking for. The places of power we seek are within us. Places of comfort, joy, wisdom, silence, healing, and peace. The places we visit often reflect those qualities and reinforce them. They remind us that they're there. But the places, the locations we visit are only mirrors, extensions of ourselves. The healing and the magic we seek are not someplace else. They are within each of us. Begin to deepen your breathing and start moving your fingers and your toes. And bring your knees to your chest. Roll to your side and come up to a sitting position. Once you're sitting tall, reach your arms up and overhead, stretch up. Then as you exhale, bring your hands down into prayer position at the center of your chest. Create an intention for the rest of your day. And once more, we'll chant together. Deep breath in. Thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Inhale and exhale. Namaste. Good work. Thank you for being here. I'll be here again tomorrow at 9:15. And if you'd like to be signed up for the immersion workshop, just check us out at the desk and we'll help you. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Thank you at home for joining us.